Hilson reporting. Well, joining me now is Mark Regev, the former Israeli ambassador to the UK, who is once again serving as an advisor to the Prime Minister here, Benjamin Netanyahu. Mr. Regev, thank you very much for coming on the programme and taking time to do so. Is the formation of this unity government, this war cabinet, a clear sign that an incursion by Israeli troops into the Gaza Strip is imminent?
Well, I think you should see the formation of the new national unity government, and it's still possible that more members of the opposition will join the new coalition, because it is a time when national unity is required. You'll recall, and you've done reports about this, that Israeli politics has over the last few months been very polarized, very cantankerous, and I think if we can say anything good about all the horror that we've been through over the last few days, is that I think maybe it was a slap in the face for Israelis, that we have to understand that what divides us, and we have very robust political debates in this country, but ultimately the threats out there, they don't care who you vote for, they don't care if you're left or right or centre, they want to kill us, and we should unite in meeting this common threat.
Right. I've spoken to lots of Israelis, including those who've got hostages in the Gaza Strip. They are furious with your Prime Minister. They think that he took his eye off the ball before the attacks on Saturday. He was far too concerned about saving his own political skin to live up to his former name of Mr. Security. And also, he's been pretty invisible, frankly, in the last few days. What do you say to those criticisms?
Well, Israelis are free to criticize. We are an open and democratic country. But I think if you actually looked at the polling, you'd see there really is strong support for a national unity government. And I think Israelis understand that this is a time for them to be together and to unify to meet the common threats. Obviously, mistakes were made. I mean, as an Israeli, we've always prided ourselves on having a very excellent intelligence service. And here we were taken by surprise. And there are allegations that the army wasn't quick enough in its initial response. That has to be looked into. That will be investigated. We have to see what lessons need to be learned.
Let's look at Israel's actions in the Gaza Strip. The bombing of mosques, of apartment blocks, the killing of civilians. Despite the understandable anger of what happened in your country on Saturday morning because of Hamas, that does look to many people like collective revenge.
I believe it's crucial that Israel respond forcibly, not only because what happened to us was unacceptable, and Hamas has to understand that we will no longer live side by side with a terrorist organization that tries to butcher our people. But Israel has other enemies in the region, from Hezbollah in Lebanon to Iran just over the horizon. And they have to understand that if you strike against Israel, if you murder our people, you will pay a price. We live in a very dangerous neighborhood, and Israel has to be strong, and Israel, while holding one hand out for peace, and we do want peace, but if you attack us, you will pay a price, and that's a crucial message for us to send.
Right, but why should children pay a price? Why should pregnant mothers pay a price? I mean, the danger here is that you're just going to continue the cycle of violence that has defined politics in this part of the world for so long.
I beg to disagree. I think your analysis is incorrect. Hamas is the enemy of peace and reconciliation. Hamas says openly they're against Israel in any borders. Hamas says openly we will kill every Jew we can find, and they showed that very clearly on Saturday morning. Hamas says openly that any Arab who signs a peace treaty with Israel is a traitor to Islam and to the Arab cause. Actually, by defeating Hamas, we're making, I think, creating an opportunity, a space for peace to happen.
But you're not just defeating Hamas, you're also killing many innocent civilians. It looks very Old Testament, an eye for an eye.
Look, I think in fairness, there hasn't been a conflict in modern history where you haven't seen civilian casualties. And we regret civilian casualties. But the idea that because Hamas has taken over Gaza and has turned it into a base of terror to launch attacks against our people, that we can't defend ourselves, that's ridiculous.
And just very briefly, if you do go into the Gaza Strip, if you take over, who's going to run the place? Because the last time you ran it, you decided that it didn't work out for either you or them and you had to get out.
Well, that's the whole point that I think has to be said, that why Hamas doesn't want peace. People forget that in 2005, Israel pulled out of the Gaza Strip. We took down all the settlements, and we pulled back to the 1967 lines. And so according to the theory that is often espoused in university campuses and in all sorts of places, if we go to the 67 lines and take down the settlements, we're supposed to get peace, are we not? What have we received in return? What have we received in return? Ruthless, barbaric violence.
Okay, got to leave it there. Mark Regev, thank you very much indeed. Well, earlier I talked to Amjad Shawa in Gaza. He's director of the Palestinian non-governmental organizations in the Gaza Strip, and I asked him to describe the situation today.
It's a very horrible situation that we are in now. Just now,